go again. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello, this is Valerie Johnson interviewing Miss Shirley Scott, one of Cheyney's professors. Miss Scott, could you please tell us what made you decide to be a professor?
Oh, that's great question. Well, I didn't really decide to become a professor. What happened was I was a student at Cheyney, and one of the professors, whose name was Dr. Lorna McDaniels, took a leave of absence, and it was the last year for me there. And I was approached by one of the people in the department, and they asked me if I could fill in for her, or did I think I could fill in for her. And I said, I don't know, I'll give it a try. And that's really how I happened to teach there. I did that for 2 years, and she decided not to come back. Then they offered me a tenured position, and I accepted it. That's how it happened.
So you attended Cheyney?
Yes.
Is it Cheyney?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you from Philadelphia?
Yes, I was born in Philadelphia and spent most of I grew up there. I didn't leave there until I was in my mid-20s. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, answer that one. Okay, how do you compare the first group of students you had when you first taught at Cheyney to the last group of students you taught?
Well, that's like comparing apples and oranges. I've been fortunate. I was fortunate while I was teaching at Cheyney. I always had good students. They seemed to be interested in the subject matter, and I'm hoping that they came away with something that they would remember. Students, they were just good students. I was lucky. I had the good ones.
Cut. Hold. That's a no-no.
Oh, I know, I should have it.
That's a no-no. You tear it, and you move the paper slides, but don't untape it. You won't believe it when you hear it on here. So in other words, you slide your paper. And
Do you have others, Mom? You tear them all. Can you tear them?
Yeah.
Then you won't have that.
Should have caught that. Generally, everything's on one side.
Oh yeah, and you can just turn it.
Right, and you just slide it over. If you watch the people on the news, you'll notice they slide the paper over.
Mhm.
Flip over.
Oh,
Okay, I'll give you a 5 count again. If you can hesitate a little
Is it
while.
all right if I look at Valerie? She's
Oh,
in the,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, you told me to look in the camera.
Well, when you answer,
Look in the
when you
camera.
answer.
Oh, when I look in the, okay.
Right.
All right.
See, I'll be shooting her, I'll be.
Then you'll be going back and forth.
Right.
Panning.
Okay, here we
call
go
it.
again. 5, 4, 3, 2, hit it.
A lot of people, they compare rap music to bebop music because they both weren't understood because of the musicians before, they didn't understand it, they couldn't do it. Could you just talk a little bit about that?
Well, it's funny that you should say that because I believe that rap is close to the music that we call bebop. And the reason I think it's like that is not because people don't understand it. A lot of people don't. But then a lot of people do. And we have quite a few young people who understand rap. The similarities are in the syncopation. And to some extent, the rappers, I've seen rappers who improvise, which is spontaneous composition, which is also what's done when the musician plays bebop. In that regard, they are similar. And I notice from some of the rap music that I hear that some of the artists use jazz music as, what do they call it? When they incorporate the jazz music, they'll take maybe a selection or something from something that maybe Dizzy Gillespie or something did and incorporate it.
Like a sample?
Yes, like a sample, that's the word. And I think in the future that the two genres will merge. That's my opinion. And it's true that when bebop first came on the scene, a lot of older musicians didn't understand it and couldn't play it or didn't try to play it, and so they didn't embrace it But it's like anything else. If you don't understand something, maybe you shy away from it. And so now with rap, a lot of older people, not all, don't understand the rap or what the messages are. Some of them are positive, some of them are not. Just like there's good music, there's bad music, there's good rap and bad rap, but I think it's here to stay. And it certainly is an art form that belongs to the younger generation of this country.
Okay. What interested you in teaching music?
What interested me? The fact that I could give back some of what was given me. That's a great feeling, to know that you can, or one can, help a younger person to understand the music, to know something about the history of the music, to be able to play the music. It's a great feeling. Excuse me. Because when one studies the history of jazz, when a black person studies the history of jazz, he's studying about his history in this country. And it's worth knowing. It's your heritage, and you should know about it. It's one of the interests.
Okay. A lot of other people that listen to music in the 70s and the 60s and the 80s even say that 90s music isn't really saying anything. What do you think of today's music? Like how R&B has changed, or the rock and roll has changed, or all that?
Today's music as compared to music in the 60s
And just
and the 70s.
early music, early R&B, Marvin Gaye and all, then compared to
that
musicians
music is
now.
still here, you know that.
Yeah, they copy
And
it.
so it's classical. It's classical. It's always going to be here. And I imagine people would get tired of listening to the same thing year after year after year. And so younger musicians come along, and they come with different ideas, and that's the way of the world. I can't compare apples and oranges, you know. I can either say I like something or I don't. And if you could give me an example of what you mean by the music of the 90s, and then pick another music of a different time, then maybe I can make a comparison.
Like Marvin Gaye, the Supremes, everybody.
As
compared
compared
to artists now.
Which
like,
artists?
Like
See
in
if I know.
Vogue or
In Vogue. Well, it's a different time. I like In Vogue. I like what they do. I liked what Marvin Gaye did, but it's not the same. It just isn't the same. I don't know how Marvin Gaye I like, In Vogue I like. He was an earlier, maybe he was a pioneer. Maybe his music had something to do with the type of music that's played now.
yeah.
You're always influenced by someone or something, which does not necessarily mean you have to imitate, but you can remember what they did and maybe get an idea and do something of your own.
What artist inspired you?
Oh, a lot of artists inspired me. Maybe the first one was my older brother. I have a brother that is older than me, and he played the saxophone when I was a little girl, and through him I started listening to jazz music seriously. My folks always did listen to that music, so I grew up with it. But other artists who are well known, some of them would be I'm greatly in awe of people like Miles Davis and Art Tatum, Oscar Peterson, Milt Jackson. Let me see, I could go on. Coleman Hawkins, Eddie Lockjaw Davis, Dexter Gordon. I could go on and on and on. All these people I respect, admire, and that's just a few. And there was if you talk about Organist, I liked very much Jackie Davis, who a lot of people don't know about, but he was maybe the first. He and Jimmy Smith were the first two organists that inspired me to play the organ, the Hammond organ. Also Milt Buckner, Wild Bill Davis, Larry Young, and I could go on and on and on. I like so many people, and probably am influenced in ways by all of them, although all of them were not keyboard artists, but their influence for one reason or another.
Did you get to play with any of those artists?
Yes, I did. I got to play with Coleman Hawkins, Dexter Gordon, John Coltrane, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I played with lucky enough to play with a lot of great artists.
Did Cheyney in any way help your music career?
No, I can't say that Cheyney helped my musical career, but Cheyney gave me an opportunity to be around young people and to teach them some of the history that maybe I had been a part of. So I had an opportunity to work with young people like you and to tell them what I knew, sometimes firsthand, sometimes from the textbooks, about the music that is America's only art form. That music and dance, tap dancing. I had a chance to do that, and I was happy about that.
Did you only play like jazz music? You play no type of music?
Well, jazz is a little word for a lot of different styles of music. And that's mostly what I played. I studied when I was younger. I studied European classical music on the piano. And at that time, that's what I did. But when I got older, and while I was younger too, my heart, I feel best playing the music that they call jazz.
If music hadn't been the focus of your career, what would have been?
I don't know. I never thought of being anything other than a musician or someone who made a career out of being around the music or playing the music, or in this instance teaching the music. I never thought of being anything else. It never came into my mind. It's something I grew up with.
Okay.
What did you study at Cheyney? Was it music reading?
Well, I got a degree, bachelor's degree in music. And now I'm about to get a master's degree in elementary education this May.
You can't possibly be finished. Are you?
That's all my questions down
Oh,
here.
you can't finish. Oh, boy.
Part 1 and part 2.
Well, boy. Well, let me see. Well, she wouldn't know about the different clubs and the places that they play with. So I feel like I hate to admit, but I'm older than you are, much older. And I remember the Nixon Grand, the Vase Theater. You remember those things? You've heard of them?
I've heard of the Nixon Grand.
Right.
I know that my mother used to go to the Nixon Grand.
Mhm.
My mother and father to see shows there. They told me
Mhm.
that I think I was just a little.
Oh yeah, because people like
I missed
Lil
it.
Green sang there.
I know who Lil Green is.
Right, Lil Green. She's the one that. Why don't she sang Why Don't You Do Right, and
And
Peggy
in-
became famous because of the song.
Yeah.
Right.
And In the Dark, she sang. I
Right,
remember
right.
that.
I remember that one too. Right.
My father had all those records.
Is that right? Yeah, it's a shame that a lot of those records are gone. Then I told the kids about some of the blues artists like Blind Boy Fuller.
Him, I don't know about Blind
Well,
Boy.
he died about 1938 or 39.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Big Bill Brunsey sang He's Gone, Blind Boy Fuller's Gone Away.
Uh-huh.
And let me see, well, I'm trying to think, there was Piano Red. You remember that?
Piano Red, I
Right.
know that name, yeah.
They used to sing that song during the war, 4F Ferdinand the Frantic Freak.
What was it?
4F Ferdinand the Frantic Freak, that was his song. He was a character. But Snarky Parker, you remember Snarky Parker?
No.
The cartoon, it wasn't a cartoon, but he was a puppet.
A
And he
puppet?
used to play a piano, had a cigarette hanging out of one corner.
No.
This was around 1949 or 50.
Well, I certainly was
Right. Yeah, he
in there then.
Yeah, I used
But
to-
no.
But I was thinking, well, I know you came along during the Blue Note?
Blue Note and Peps and Showboat.
Showboat.
The Aqua Lounge.
Right.
And was there something else? That was about it, I think.
Sometimes there are things that
Now,
they follow, didn't they?
At the Apollo?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, that was.
You mean in Philadelphia?
Philadelphia, right.
I don't know.
Oh,
The
no,
Apollo in New York.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
The Earl Theater was
Oh, right, the Earl was one. I
in
remember.
Philadelphia. I was too young to play there.
Mhm.
But I used to go there and hear. I used to see people like Josephine Baker
Oh, yeah.
and Louie Jordan and his Symphony
I was
Five.
talking to her about Louie Jordan because I'm trying to think of his name now. Bill, what was his name? He stole most of Louie Jordan's music and became famous. He claimed that he was the originator of rock and roll.
Bill Haley.
Bill Haley.
That's his biggest lie I've heard.
Right. He stole Ain't Nobody Here But Us Chickens. That was Louie Jordan.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Louis Jordan made it famous. I never.
Oh yeah, right. Now I was telling him that You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog was not Elvis
Elvis
Presley's song.
Presley.
That was Big Maybelle.
Yeah. Well, you know, if it wasn't for Little Richard, there would have been no Elvis
You're right there.
Presley.
Right. Ray Charles said the king of what? But I'm trying to think of some of the other. Well, I don't know. You haven't seen the movie I have of Louie Jordan, have you?
No, you. No, I
Well, I
haven't.
have to run copies of it. He sang Caledonia,
Uh huh.
right? What makes your big head so hard?
Saturday Night Fish Fry.
Right,
Did
yeah,
you
there
sing
go.
that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the other one I'm trying. There was something else I was trying. Oh, Fats Waller.
Oh,
You remember
yeah.
him?
Sure.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was a character. And he was an organist too, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. I had a record. Oh, my nephew has a record of him playing.
Oh,
the
Fats Waller
organ.
playing organ?
Yeah, it's one of those acetate.
Mm-hmm.
Remember I told you?
Yeah.
He's got a lot of those things.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to look at them.
Oh, yeah, gosh, yeah. Yeah, he played the pipe organ. Didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he study in Germany?
I don't know. I don't know
I heard
the.
he studied in
I
Germany.
know the history of that, but I know he did play
Yeah.
and record
Uh-huh.
on the pipe organ. And Count Basie also
Oh, gosh, yeah.
played
I
organ.
know Count Basie, yeah. Now, Fats Waller's sister was my mother's teacher.
Really?
In elementary school, right? Yeah, he's a Philadelphia boy.
Yeah,
A Philadelphia
I didn't
man.
know that.
Oh, yeah, they're all.
I did not know that.
Well, yeah. Now, who was the Cy Oliver? Was he the arranger for the Dorsey Brothers?
I think he did.
Right.
Hmm.
See, I was telling him, you probably told him in the class that most of the big bands had
Fletcher
black
Henderson.
arrangers.
Fletcher Henderson. Fletcher Henderson. I tell my kids. They say that Benny Goodman was the king of swing.
Right.
It wasn't Benny Goodman.
Oh.
It was those arrangements that Fletcher
yeah.
Henderson wrote.
Yeah, well, Louie Armstrong, I used to hate him in a way, but I liked him when he said the hell with the president one time.
Is that why you liked it?
Yeah, right, he said the hell with the president. It was funny, it was during the Civil Rights Movement. Yeah, he said the hell with the president. I mean,
What's
and
he talking?
he referred to the King of England as Rex. You remember that?
The Rex, yeah. Louie Armstrong had he had a really he had a great sense of humor.
Yeah, a friend of mine, I hope I'm not holding this thing, but she's run out of stuff, so we
No,
gotta keep moving.
no.
But a friend of mine was a waiter at the Cotton Club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he told me about Louie Armstrong. He said, Louie was wrong, like that, So he said he purposely stood close to Louie to hear what he was saying. Louie was cussing him out.
Underneath the handkerchief. Huh?
Yeah, he was calling him everything.
Yeah, he has been known to talk
Oh, yeah, it was.
using profanity.
Yeah, well, he said that one night he came to work and he saw this man sitting out there with a sub-Thompson machine.
In front of the cotton
Club.
club?
Yeah, he said he went back home. Yeah. How about, you were talking about the Apollo. Did you ever play that?
Oh, many times,
Yeah.
yeah.
See, there you go.
It's not the Apollo well, it's not like what you see now. Although they did have Wednesday night, they had amateur hour. on Wednesday night, and people would just come and no rehearsal. You just got up. They said, okay, you, and you. And they had a band there. And they did whatever it was they wanted to do. And if the people didn't like them, they had a character they called Puerto Rico. And he would come out with a pistol, not a real pistol. And he would shoot the contestants off the stage when they weren't. But yeah, I played there many times.
Yeah, some places they used to use a hook, didn't they?
Well, when I was there, it was, yeah, when I was there, they used to shoot them off the stage.
That's like David Sandman.
Yeah, he dances them off, right? Well, this guy would come out and dance and shoot them off.
What
Bang.
place did they throw garbage and stuff at them?
Baltimore at the
Oh.
Royal Theater in Baltimore.
They threw rotten fruit.
They threw things at Ella Fitzgerald there because she wouldn't sing the blues.
Oh, that was an interesting story because my friend told me about the time that she sang. I think it was a couple of days after Chick Webb died.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and said she was really broken up about it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
very
guess
interesting story.
so. They were
Right.
very
Right.
close. Didn't she marry him? Or-
Well,
Were
it's
they
strange to see.
married?
My wife gets she gets infuriated when I talk about. Well, actually, what happened is Ella Fitzgerald was 16.
I know
and
she was much
too
younger.
young to get married. She had to have consent of an adult,
Uh-huh.
and she was an orphan. So
Yeah.
what Chick Webb did was adopted,
Okay.
and he lived with her as husband and wife.
Yeah,
And
that's
when
what it
I
was.
mentioned that, my wife, she
Didn't like that.
Yeah. I said, for crying out loud, I said, in the eyes of God, they were married.
It's not, and really, it's not so bad as some of the things that happen
Oh, yeah.
today.
Oh, yeah.
At least he took care of her. You know.
But a guy in Reading said that he used to beat up on him.
Who? Chick Webb would?
Yeah. And said
That
they-
little guy?
Yeah, and so they said they went after him with a baseball bat and broke his arm, you know.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
What's-
I take back what I said.
Well, but he was a good drummer, wasn't he?
Yeah, but as good a drummer as he
Yeah.
was, he wasn't supposed to.
Uh-huh.
Beat
That's
up on
the
him.
rumor. This gentleman,
I never heard
he's a
that.
character. He tells me he knows all the old movie stars.
Mhm.
Then when I try to put him in front of the camera, he backs off.
Oh.
He backs off. He's about 80 years old. He's
Well,
really old.
what has he got to lose? He might as
Yeah,
well
he backs off.
just sit there.
So you met Josephine Baker too, huh?
I never met her. I saw her when I was a kid
Mm-hmm.
at the Earl Theater, and Lionel Hampton used to be
Oh,
there.
now you're talking.
And let's see, who else I remember? Dusty Fletcher. You remember him? Open the Door, Richard.
Oh yeah. I've got that on tape too.
Do you?
He's actually singing, yeah.
You know, he would actually, it was a ladder, but not one of these ladders.
Right.
He would walk up that ladder, just one, like half of a ladder.
You know, I'm surprised. I thought I gave you a copy of that tape. I've got a
No.
copy of him climbing up the ladder. He
Does
used to
he-
wear these big funny looking shoes,
Let me
floppy
ask,
shoes. I had to run off again because he said, "Open the door, Richard." And
now, did you give those to Hank to give to me?
I gave him some to Hank. Yeah, I gave some to Hank.
You gave, I know I have some, but I don't have
You know,
that.
got Dusty Fletcher. Yeah.
Oh,
Because I got some of Mom's Mabley when
Mom's
she was young.
Mabley.
She was younger.
you know, we were talking about Professor Ruby Perkins. You said she's helping with
Cheyney
the,
pageant.
well, have you ever seen her recreate Mom's Mabley?
I've got that on tape too.
She's
She's
funny.
pretty on me.
She is funny. You have to ask her sometime
Mhm.
to do a little bit in your class. Or you don't have class with her? Ask her to do about 5 minutes of Mom's Mabley for you.
She'll have you cracking up.
She will. Do you know who Mom's Mabley was? She was billed as the funniest lady in the world, and she was. She's a black comedian, and she's very funny. She said one of her. Let's see if I can remember one of the things that I could tell you that she said. She said that when she was a young girl, she married this real old man.
Oh yeah.
And his friends would come around sometimes, and she would open the door for him, and she would say, they would say, "Well, where is Henry?" And she said, "Oh, he's upstairs in the bed with Arthur." He said, "Arthur?" She said, "Yeah, arthritis." That was funny.
One
And
time
she was kind of racy too, you know.
Oh yeah. Now she mentioned what she had her husband buried face down, so if he came to, he didn't go around down there.
Yeah. She had another joke that she said that this man was in a hospital very, very ill and he was dying. And his wife came to the hospital and they didn't know what was wrong with him. And so he said, honey, I got something to tell you before I die. She said, what is it, George? He said, I've been unfaithful to you. And she said, I know it, George. That's why I poisoned you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, those were some of the jokes that she was.
Yeah,
Funny lady.
and it got better when she lost her teeth.
Well, you know, she had teeth, but she would take them out when she was on stage and put on her shoes on the wrong foot. She'd have a
Big teeth,
yeah, and she put on one of those house dresses and long cotton stockings. Oh, she was really funny.
I thought it was a man when I first heard her.
You did.
Yeah, I said, who's that man? That's a real deep voice.
She said also, your mother's going around here telling these little children to watch the lights. You know, when they cross the street, she said, lights don't kill them little kids, them automobiles. You better watch those cars. She said, never mind the light.
Well, you know, I believe the movie that I have of her is with Dusty Fletcher.
Is it
Dusty
really?
Fletcher, I believe he's one of the roomers.
Uh-huh.
I think he's one of the roomers.
Well, that should be funny.
Rooming house. Because,
That should
yeah,
be
right.
funny.
And there's a couple other nuts in there, too. But she was something else. I showed you in class? Right, huh?
Did you?
Yeah, I'm surprised. Well, what I'll have to do is make sure you get a copy of that one.
Okay.
I've got Louie Jordan, Dusty Fletcher, well, Mom Baby. And who else do I have? Well, Paul Robeson, of course. Everybody likes Paul
Yeah.
Robeson.
They were just talking about him on public television, about his life, and I think he would have been 100 years old a couple of days ago or something. They were talking about him.
Yeah, well, I'm almost running. Well, actually, I can't run out of steam, but I just don't want to put on too much. But I was I was trying to get some input on people like, Coltrane. How about Red Garland? You remember him?
Oh, sure. He used to
Yeah.
live down the block from me when
Is
I was
that
a
right?
kid. And he would come and I would play my piano lessons for him and he would
Mhm.
help me.
Is that
Then
right?
I was a little kid, maybe 9,
Mm-hmm.
10 years old. And around that time my brother was playing the saxophone and he'd want to rehearse. So he would show me the chords to play for him while he rehearsed.
Is that right?
And I would do that. And then it came to a point where I wanted to take a solo.
Mhm.
So then I would play his chords for him,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't let him take a solo until I took one. Because
That's it.
Res Garland said, now listen, honey, you have to take a solo. You just can't play chords for your brother all the time.
That's pretty good. You got good time there. You couldn't find better.
Yeah,
back
Res
then.
Garland,
Hey.
Philly Joe Jones, we all
Oh,
lived in
yeah.
the
I met
same
Philly.
neighborhood.
Yeah, there were two Joe Jones, right? Philly Joe Jones
And Papa Joe Jones.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
I remember
both
Philly.
drummers.
Yeah, I remember Philly because he came and sat with us one time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of the organ player, Joe Whalen.
Yes, Whalen.
Whalen. Was it Whalen? Okay,
Whalen.
there was a Joe Whalen too.
Yeah, he was a fine organist.
Oh yeah. yeah.
And pianist.
Uh-huh.
Very,
I
very.
never heard him on piano.
Oh, he was. They used to call him the demon.
Good person to play with.
Yeah.
That's it. How about Goldie Hill? Isn't that Goldie Hill? Goldie? She's. I'm trying to remember. Well, Goldie's. I haven't seen Goldie in about 20 years.
I don't think is she a musician?
Piano.
Piano player?
She plays organ.
Oh no, I don't think I ever met her.
Oh yeah. And then the other one, his uncle was a politician. I'm trying to think of his name.
Doc Bagby? Not Bagby.
No, not Doc Bagby. I haven't heard of him in a long while. What did he play?
He
Doc
played
Bagby played organ?
organ.
I wasn't too sure though.
It's an organ player that is from Philadelphia.
Yeah. I was thinking that.
Politician.
Well, yeah, right.
Well, I'll name the ones I know from Jimmy McGriff.
Well, no, it wasn't Jimmy.
Okay.
Yeah.
From
I
Philadelphia.
can't think of his name. I remember him because he got in a fight one day and he was a saxophone player.
Really?
He was half the size of the saxophone player. No, not the saxophone player, the drummer. He beat the drummer.
Who did this?
The organist.
The one that you're talking
Yeah,
about?
right, and I said, I'd never pick a fight with a drummer, because, you know, they should be in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Then he took the drummer and walked him all up and down.
You just happen to be in better shape, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Well, huh?
Okay, I
Oh, go ahead, okay, I was just trying to throw in there. Go ahead.
What was the first instrument that you played?
Piano.
And when was your first concert?
You mean as a professional musician? Concert. Well, you know, when you take piano lessons and you're a little kid, your music teacher is always, whatever level you are, you play. She has all her students and you play, and I guess I must have been about 7 or 8 when I did my first performance as a musician.
Can you play anything else besides the piano?
I play the organ, and I used to play the trumpet, but that was many years ago. So the answer to your question is just the organ and the piano, no trumpet.
Still don't wanna rap, I won't force her to do some more. She got it in her, but she just doesn't wanna surface right now.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. It's more normal, way. Do you remember, that's right, you weren't there when Dizzy Gillespie came to Cheyney.
No,
That was in 1978, I believe.
no, I wasn't there
Yeah,
then.
because, I'm trying to think of his name, who wrote Dizzy's, biography.
Oh,
Fraser,
Fraser,
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
to
He
be or
performed
not
at
to
Cheyney?
bop.
Right, he is not the block.
He performed at Cheyney?
No, I'll tell you what he told us. He said that his horn was too tired to get up in 8 o'clock in the morning to play. So, this would have me cracking up. And he had a beautiful, how would I say, way with children.
Mhm.
The kids were around him, I mean, they were clustered around him, he'd have a crack.
Yeah,
They said that when he did this with his lips, that's when they really loved him.
yeah, when he,
Jaws of it.
Yeah.
They used to love him out there, so good. But I'll tell you, when I went there, I shot photographs, and I got some photographs. And who wrote the spook that sat by the door? I'm trying to remember.
who,
his name.
the spook that sat by the door.
I have photographs.
Oh, I know that.
I have photographs of him.
Oh, I know who did that. I mean, I know who wrote that.
And Maro Baraki.
Amira.
Amira, okay.
Amira Baraka, Leroy Jones.
Yeah, I have photographs of him.
Mhm.
A slew of them. I can't remember all of them.
Mhm.
I took photographs of people I didn't know who they were because
Just
I hadn't seen them in years. You know, I
Uh-huh.
took photographs and came back and Fraser showed me.
Yeah.
Who they were.
I have a
So
question.
you guys exhausted that massive.
This young lady here, Valerie, has a question.
Body of knowledge. Oh, you better. Okay, all right.
I write poetry and stuff, and sometimes I try to doodle whatever because I wish I could draw. Did you ever want to sing or want to play the drums? Want to do something else?
No, I never wanted to sing or play the drums or do anything other musically. Other than, the only other thing I like to do was to write music. I like to compose, but I always wanted to play. I always wanted to be involved some type of way, some sort of way where I could perform, because I like to do that. But I like to compose too. And you know, I don't know if you remember, but when a jazz musician takes a solo and he's improvising, he's composing, because improvisation is spontaneous composition. So that's another thing that makes a jazz musician unique, and the rapper too, because a lot of times they write the things out that they do, but sometimes if they're caught on the spot and they're asked to perform, to improvise something, it's right off the top. And that's not easy. Everybody can't do that.
How many CDs do you have? Or
CDs and albums, I have over 50.
50?
Mhm.
When did you first record your first album?
I must have been 22, 21, something like that. So that's a whole lot of years ago, because I'm 64 now.
still
So
plays.
that's going back, way back. Yeah.
Where, did you play, piano? Have you, traveled all over?
I've been all over the world, just about. The only continent I have not been to, and I was supposed to go, no, two. I was supposed to go to the Orient this past December, but I became ill, so I couldn't go. But I've been to Europe, and I've been to Africa, South Africa, South America. I've been just about all over.
Could I cut a second here? You have to change my battery. It's battery low. Plus, I mean, they have to, they'll crush you.
It'll crush you.
He has a brother that goes on a rampage and beats up half of the Reading police. And the only people that can handle him is two brothers.
My, they don't like to see him coming, do they?
Oh no, yeah. I travel around with some weird people, though. Did you play with any Latino groups, Shirley?
No, I recorded some Latin music.
Uh-huh.
Did you and your brother ever play together on stage?
Yes, we did, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, we did. We got a chance to do that.
Well, couple more minutes, then we'll scratch gravel. But I'm trying to think of some of the other musicians. I could, we did mention Coltrane. I remember him pretty well. Everybody knows Coltrane. How about Horace Silver? Did you ever meet him?
Yes, I know
Oh, yeah.
Horace,
He was a character.
Yeah.
I used to crack up when he would sit down and play the piano. That was some
Do you know why he looked like that?
Why is that?
Because he has arthritis of his
Is that right?
spine.
Is that right?
And so that's why
Is
he,
that right? I thought
that
he did that on
position.
purpose.
well, I don't think he could help it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'll be darned. That's
Yeah.
But it didn't bother him, though. He kept around playing.
Oh, he still plays.
Yeah, there are a lot of interesting stories out there with the musicians.
Yeah.
There was a bass player, what's his name? I can't think of his name. He used to play the bass and he was slaying his body back about 45 degrees. Peacock, Gary Peacock?
I know the name, but I didn't know. I
Yeah,
don't know
he used
him.
to play bass like that.
Yeah.
Well, how about Ron Crotty? Did you run across him? Ron
Sure.
Crotty?
I made some recordings with him. He
Is
was
that right?
on
How you like that?
some of my recordings, and last year,
Is that
we
right?
were in Italy together.
Is that right? Hey, look at that. Ed Thigpen? He's a bass.
I know Ed Thigpen too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ed Thigpen. I remember he used to play
He
with
lives- he
played
lives
with
in-
Billy Taylor.
Yeah, and he also used to play with. Didn't he play with Ahmad Jamal for a while?
He could, yeah. I'm not sure.
He lives in Europe now.
Is that he lives in Europe? I remember when he played with Billy, I couldn't believe some of the stuff he was doing.
Yeah, Ed Thigpen is a drummer. Just for
Oh, I'm sorry.
to let our youngsters know who we're talking
A
about.
lot of good drummers out there. Well, I have some tapes I've shown the students on, what's the name of the drummer I showed you guys? Well, Max Roots, right? You've seen the ones on the world.
How about Art Blakey?
Art
He has
Blakey.
some.
I showed you guys one on Art Blakey. And,
He's a little
Elvin
short
Jones.
guy. Elvin Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, is Art Blakey short, you say?
Yeah.
Is that right? I didn't know that. He looks like a giant up there.
Yeah, he
behind
is
the
a
drum.
giant on the drum.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But when he steps down, he's just a little
Is
guy.
that right?
Yeah,
You know, I'll
he's
tell
good.
you who shocked me too when I saw him. I'm trying to think of his name. Plays a tenor saxophone. His brother plays bass with the Modern Jazz Quartet. What's his name now?
Oh, you're talking about Jimmy Heath?
Jimmy Heath, right?
Yeah, he's a little guy too.
Yeah, I said, wait a minute. I said, gosh. That's it. The horn is as big as he is.
Yeah, he plays the tenor
But he always,
saxophone.
Milton uses him a lot though, doesn't he?
Milt uses Jimmy.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Quite a few numbers,
I guess so. I know Percy and he uses Mickey
Mickey Roker.
A lot.
Oh, yeah,
He loves
yeah.
Mickey Roker.
Oh man, he's mean. Yeah, he does a lot of beautiful stuff. As loud as he can be, he leaves holes for you to play in.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is the difference in the drummer with dynamics, because I never really had any trouble playing with him. But you get me with some of these young kids, I mean, they just smother you. I said, what in the world happened? I said, I don't know where in the world I am right now. I'm ready to go home. But you got a good bass player. I'll have to make sure you get a copy of that tape too. What was his name now?
Arthur?
Well, Arthur, yeah, I've got tapes of him too.
Yeah. Benny
And
Nelson, that's the one that's on the tape
Right
that you
after
gave
Nelson,
me.
Arthur, and
Fambro.
Charles Fambro.
Yeah,
he
he's
cooks.
excellent.
He cooks. He loves what he's doing too. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? He loves that. And the drummer, what was the name of that young drummer you had?
Derek Bush.
Is that right? He was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything was. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, Derek.
And your son's not bad either. The guy.
Thank you.
He's real good. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Nice. I've seen the other drummers get up and walk out of the place when they saw them come walk in there. When they were having a session. I'll tell you who else when what's his name? Arthur, what's the bass player?
Harper.
Harper, when he walked into a place, another bass player, Rufus Hawley's bass player, walked in there one day and saw Arthur and picked up his bass and went out and he was mad as a day.
Why?
Well, I mean, one of the singers said, well, when Arthur Harper comes play in here, we know we're going to have somebody to back us up.
Yeah, he's a,
So he got out of there real fast.
yeah,
That was right. Now, Rufus Hawley,
yeah.
he plays, bagpipes, right? Did you ever hear him play?
Mhm.
He drives me nuts when he plays it. Well, let me see, what key is it? I think there's only one key he plays.
Well, either C or A minor.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's the one he played in, yeah. Yes, God. Well, I remember him when he first started, and he was the guitar player. His teacher was a guitar player. And he had a painting in his office with 6 fingers. I'm trying to remember his name.
He has 6 fingers?
Well, no, he didn't have 6 fingers, but the picture had 6 fingers.
Oh.
He was trying to demonstrate how facile he was with the guitar.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Did he have more strings too?
I don't know. No, I didn't see his
Well,
guitar.
for one
He
more
had
finger, you should have had at least 3
Right.
more strings.
Right. Well, as soon as I walk out, I'll remember some of the other musicians. But I was raised in a Baptist family, and we were surrounded by musicians most of the time. Some of us didn't barely be around. but when they played that piano on Sunday nights, and the thing was out of tune, when these ladies with the big hats on started singing, that was just the time to go.
Yeah.
But did you get much? How was it? Did you get much experience in the church?
Playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to play in the church when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
Mother's Day used to be the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to play for the adult choirs and the
Mhm.
children's choir,
Oh,
and I played in school for the graduations when I was, Pomp and Circumstance Elementary
yeah,
School.
hey, that's
I was
all
the
right.
band.
Is that right? The elementary school, huh? That's
Yeah.
pretty good. That's a lot of fun. I like to watch the kids at
Yeah.
elementary school. I tell some of these students here, they sound like the valedictorians of the elementary school. Kindergarten class.
Kindergarten valedictorian.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's it.
Pretty good.
But, now, do you remember Elder Beck?
Yes,
Elder Beck?
yeah, that's the one that says you going to hell.
Yeah.
As sure as you born to die, you're going to hell.
Yeah, he played the trumpet, right?
I don't know about
Yeah, he
that,
used to play
but I
trumpet.
didn't like to listen to him on the radio.
Yeah, he was out in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Elder
Yeah.
Beck.
Oh, wait, Elder Beck. Then there was Bishop Johnson. You remember
Bishop
him?
Johnson, yeah.
And Bishop Johnson was a fifth. You don't
Yeah.
like what I say, praise God, shut my mouth.
You know
Because
somebody
I'm
else
man enough to do it.
read, yeah. He was, now was he, what was he apostolic
That's what I
faith?
started saying. He was the founder of that church.
Yeah, it's a big church.
Yeah, he told more people he was going to come back. Yeah, he hasn't came
They're
back
still
yet.
waiting, him and
Yeah,
Daddy
right,
Grace
right.
and
Oh, Daddy Grace.
Father Divine.
Yeah, Daddy Grace was a great one. Now, talking about fingernails, these kids don't want to know what fingernails are.
Ooh, no, they
Daddy
don't.
Grace had fingernails about 6 inches long.
Oh, longer than that, they would
Yeah,
curl up
right.
like that.
And these were real fingernails now.
And when he ate, when they
Uh-huh.
had a meal, they would pay $5 for a crumb from
Right,
Daddy's
right,
plate.
right. He painted it, yeah, right, why? I mean, because,
He didn't have to do anything for himself. You know, he couldn't wash himself with
Right.
stuff like
Right.
that.
and he
I mean, what
baptized
did
him out
you
of the river.
do?
He would baptize him out of the river.
You get a whole slew
Oh,
of them,
yeah,
take them down
yeah.
to the river.
Yeah, you guys haven't seen anything, but some of that stuff was
He
crazy.
used to wear a big white cowboy, was it a white cowboy hat or
Some
a
of it,
big
right.
white
Mhm.
hat, and his hair was long
Mhm.
down to it, I mean, he'd fit right in right now.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, gosh, yeah. Now, how about Elder Lightfoot Solomon Lee Shaw? Do you remember him?
No.
46th and 46th and Walnut. They used to sing the theme song was "Happy Am I with My Redeemer." Do you remember that?
I remember that song,
And they used
yeah.
to play with a harmonica. Yeah, I used to play harmonica in that church. Those were good churches. Those were
The
days you
music
enjoyed
was
going to
wonderful.
church. People had this tambourine when you walked into church, you know.
Yeah, I remember in New York, on 125th Street on Sundays, this is in the 50s, I think it was Daddy Grace's church, one of his churches, and they used to have musicians, and people would be outside because they'd raise the window. They'd be outside listening to the music. It was just like going to hear somebody playing at a club or something. The music was so good.
So Charlie Watts, you know him? Played tenor.
I know Charlie.
Played tenor, had a huge bell on. Played tenor, and he was telling me that when they played at Birdland, sometimes they'd go over and listen to Daddy Grace.
Oh, sure, they go listen to those bands.
They would stop playing and go and listen to that. Boy, that was something else.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll lock up in a few minutes here.
Oh, I have a question. I just want to see if I have my facts straight.
Excuse me, you see, that's the trouble there. She's very respectable.
That's
Very
good.
polite. So, I mean.
It's very nice.
Okay, go ahead, keep rolling. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
It was said about one person that back in the slave days, the slaves would go listen to the white people, the music they played, and try to imitate it.
Don't believe that.
That's not what happened. So how did like blues come about and all that?
It didn't have anything to do with the white church. Blues and spiritual, they're the same. The only difference is that the blues are personal. One person will be singing about something that is particularly important to him, like my old man left me, I don't know what I'm going to do, or my old man left me, I'm so glad I don't know what to do. They don't always have to be sad, but spiritual is a group of people who talk about heaven, going to heaven, or like something like, oh Mary, don't you weep, don't you mourn, those things like that. That's when a group of people sing. It's really the same thing. It's the same music, but the only difference, I'm talking about back there during that time when they had blues and spirituals. The only difference is the message. Now, and I've forgotten what you just asked me about. Oh, about the black people would try to imitate what the white people did.
Yeah.
As far as music is concerned, this is what happened. When there were slaves on farms, plantations or whatever you want to call them, the white man used religion to keep them enslaved, mentally. And so they would go and get one black person to come and hear a particular sermon. And then he was supposed to go back and tell and preach this sermon to the other slaves. And it would be something like, don't worry about how bad you're treated on earth, because when you die, you're going to go to heaven. And when you get to heaven, you're going to have wings. And the streets are going to be paved with gold. And you're going to eat fried chicken, So regardless of how much you're mistreated here, it's going to be better when you die. So just take it.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the messages. As far as, okay, if you listen to the music that's sang or played in churches that are predominantly white, and then go and listen to the music that is played and sung in churches that are predominantly black, there is a vast world of difference. And if anybody tried to take something from somebody else musically, it was the white people trying to take it away from the slaves. So that's not true.
Gosh, I wonder where that this information came from. Could
Huh?
have been anybody black.
Oh, somebody wrote it in a book, of
Somebody
course.
wrote it in a book?
I'm sure they must
Is that
have.
right?
You know how they put lies.
Oh, yeah.
Look, it's history books, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the history of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
We get the white people's version. We don't get the Indian
Mm-hmm. Oh,
version,
no.
So, that's going to be different, right?
Sure.
So it's what they put in the written word, I guess, is sacred.
My two aunts joined a Presbyterian church, white Presbyterian church.
Uh-huh.
One aunt died about 7 months ago, and prior to that, let me see, my aunt's husband died. And that was the first funeral I ever went to, and went to sleep. I sat up there and went to sleep.
Did you?
Gosh, no, and because they
Neither hot nor cold, huh?
right, it wasn't even that. It was in outer space somewhere. And then when I went to my aunt, I said, gosh, I was angry. I was burned up because see, my grandfather was a Baptist minister, and we went to when we went to a funeral. They said this is the going home party. We're getting out
Celebrate
of here. We're
their
getting
life,
out of here.
right.
We don't want to come back here. And you know, people would be having a ball. Like my mother's funeral. I mean, that place was jammed, and they had a good time. And the lady said, I guess you all know I can't sing, but I'm going to sing anyhow, you know. They had us all cracking up, you know, and you didn't have much time to cry, you know what I mean? But the attitude was that, hey, I'm getting out of here, you know. And I tell a lot of people, I said, if I was forced to be a person who had to be reincarnated, I think I'd have Dr. Kevorkian waiting at the door when I was born. Get me out of here. Well, it was something terrible. Gosh, I wouldn't want to come back. I'm sorry. No way.
Well, you never know.
Well,
It might be better when you come back.
well, I would
Maybe
come
you'll
back
be
white
elevated.
person. Black folks.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, when you come back as a white person, it may be their turn
That's what I'm
to
saying.
be enslaved.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You might just my luck. You know.
The tables have turned since you were here last.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting. I never heard that someone would have the audacity to say that we.
Oh, you should hear
emulated
some of the things. They talk about all these white people, all these white musicians, what they, you know, how great they are, but yet they can't find one that did anything to change the music to make it better.
No, you're right there.
Not one.
It's interesting. I hear everybody screaming the Bix Beiderbecke. Beiderbecke, was the
sure.
greatest. I said, oh, come on now. I can't
Bix
believe it.
Beiderbecke.
Yeah, that's somebody. His trumpet sounds like somebody took a rat tail file and filed his mouthpiece. Gosh.
He never heard of Louie Armstrong and what's the other one before him? Bunny.
Let me see his.
The one
King Oliver was his mentor, wasn't he?
Yes,
You know?
but there was a trumpet player, cornet player before Louis Armstrong. They say was the first person to ever play jazz from New Orleans.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to think of
Bunk
his
Johnson? No,
No,
wasn't Bunk Johnson.
no. Well, I can't remember. Now see that I know this as well as I know the back of my head. Bunny somebody? Bunny? No.
It wasn't. I know it was Bunny Berry, and that was him.
No.
I'm trying to remember what Bunny Berry played.
I don't know. Probably trumpet. Can't think now. I'll call you up and give you that man's name.
Yeah, I remember when I was a
From
kid,
New Orleans.
right on. I lived on 46th and Ashland. No, 46th.
Buddy. Is it Buddy Johnson? Can't remember. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm the one who should be sorry.
No.
You're supposed to be the interviewee. We lived on a corner, 46th and Haverford, and they claimed that what's her name now? Don't tell me. Bessie
Bessie Smith?
Bessie Smith sang in that speakeasy that was on the corner from us. That was interesting because they used to sell what was near beer.
Well, you mean that 3-2 beer?
Right. Well, actually, they called it near beer.
Near beer.
And but they were also selling bad tub gin because my kids, my friends' father used to pour what I thought was water in a dish. Then he would light it. And it would burn.
Some water.
And then I look at it, and he would look at it, and he'd laugh, and he would drink it. In other words, from what I understand, he was trying to determine whether they had lead content in it. See, because a lot of that booze they made, they used the radiators off cars, and the cars had the radiators were soldered, and the lead would kill off the bead.
My goodness.
Yeah. And then they were drinking
No
bad tub
thanks,
gin,
but
which
no
was
thanks.
had methanol alcohol, wood alcohol.
Yeah, they go blind with
Right,
that stuff.
yeah. There's some interesting stories about going up here. Look at she look. Saturday night was a big night. That was bed bug night.
What's
That's when
bed
people
bug?
took their springs out in the backyard and burned the bed bugs. Springs. Yeah, well, see.
That's
That's
right.
right, Philadelphia.
I was born, where I was born is now a parking lot for Temple University. It was the 2100 block, North 11th Street. And I stayed there until I was about 14, and then my parents moved to 28th and Glenwood Avenue. They call it Strawberry Mansion. No mansions, no strawberries. But back then it was a pretty decent little neighborhood. Then when I left there, I went to New York and back and forth. But that's where I was born. I went to elementary school that went from kindergarten to 8th grade. And the name of the school was Elverson. That school might still be there, I'm not sure. And then I went from there to Girls High. Then I went to Temple University for a while and quit, and then went on the road. And then I went back to Temple University, and then I went to Cheyney. And then I went to Cheyney, and then I went to Cheyney.
Were the elementary schools predominantly black or a black school?
It was predominantly black, but there were white students there because the neighborhood was somewhat mixed, you know, back then. And because it was a Catholic school and church across the street. No, the next block, yeah, across the street from Elverson, and so most of the student body there was white. And we had a few white children in the school. All of the teachers were predominantly, the teachers were predominantly white, even in a black neighborhood. I couldn't figure it out. We had, in our neighborhood, years ago, any neighborhood, I don't care how affluent or whatever the class was. In the neighborhood, you had teachers who taught at the schools. You had doctors. People owned their own business, like cleaners. They were black, but not anymore. We don't have that. We get to be a doctor now. We gotta go and live where all the white folks are.
Well, you went to school with some of the elite. I'm trying to think of Cosby. You know Jane Cosby? I
No,
don't know what her maiden name was. Well, I think we're gonna hit the road.
that's the dry. And I'm gonna have to make my
Okay,
medicine
there you
when
go.
it gets
Okay,
down.
well, thanks a lot. You wanna
Thank
kill it?
you.
wanna,
Thank you.
wanna cut it?
Okay.
Put a tag on it, okay. But just leave, well, four wide, okay. There you go.
This has been Valerie Johnson and Professor Shirley Scott. Thank you for watching.
Okay, anything.
You wrapped it up, huh? And